Hello and welcome to Discover Downtown Stoughton. Today we are at Overt Space Gallery at 130 East Main Street, and I'm here with Catherine Simden, the owner. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this business.
Well, it's a long creative journey. So I started my art career when I was in high school. I loved AP art. I was known as like the art freak. And then I got into, for school I went to Rocky Mountain School of Photography in Missoula, Montana, which was an intensive photography program where we learned all the aspects of photography, from the photo to running the business to making a website to printing our work. And what I loved about that was the printing side of it. So when I got back home, I started a print business in my parents' basement, and I loved it. I was starting to print on different materials, a lot of fine art papers, but about 2 years into it, I kind of got burnt out because it wasn't very creative. All the creative stuff that I was doing was my own, and I wanted to stop printing other people's. And so then I shut that down and continued to do photography, like family work and weddings. And then I fell into this job of photo styling in a commercial studio. And my niche is freelance basket and box styling. So all the gift food boxes that you see in catalogs, I built those. So it's making sure that everything is right to the camera angle and you can see everything. Sometimes a box takes 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes, 2 hours, and then up to like a full day of 8 hours, just getting everything perfect to the camera. So that kind of fed into my art side of creating that three-dimensionalness. And then I fell pregnant with my partner, and we wanted to move closer to home, which I was living in Monroe for a little bit. And then we moved back to Stoughton area, and then I was looking for a space to create because I didn't have a studio where we're moving to. So I was going to rent some office space. It needed a window, and I just couldn't find anything that was like accessible. And all I could find was this retail frontage. And then I walked in the space and felt immediately inspired, like, oh, I know how to do retail. I know how to like set it up and run it. And then I saw the space in the back that I could do my artwork back here and do classes, sell products, sell other people's art, and it just kind of kept on flowing into just like all of the ideas that I could make this space be.
Yeah, and that's a great type of business to have in the Arts District here.
Yeah.
So when did you open here?
That would be November of 2021. So I've been open for like a year and a half.
Awesome. And you mentioned classes. What types of classes do you have? Like what do you teach?
I teach beginner classes and intermediate classes. I'm getting a little into more of an advanced curriculum, but that won't be till like fall and winter. But right now my two favorite classes are exploring acrylic mediums, which is going over 6 different acrylic paints and the different qualities of them. So we create a swatch of going through all of them and figuring out like what the qualities are, and then I give you like a scratch paper on what, like if you want to do some tests, and so then you don't have to spend like $300 to figure out what paint I need to use. So it's not a very creative class, but it's very informative.
Okay. Question about that then. How do you, what type of paint is your favorite kind of paint from all of that?
That's a good question. So I actually use 3 different types of paint. I use acrylic ink, which is very fluid, and it kind of acts like a little bit like watercolor. And then I use fluid acrylic, which is a mix between like the regular acrylic and an ink. Like still moves really well, but it's a little bit more opaque. But then I also use regular body because it's the most versatile. So if I can just get more colors that way.
Okay. All right, and then continue about the classes. That was just really interesting.
My favorite class is Intuitive Abstract Painting, which is my most popular class too. And I've had many people take this class multiple times. They come back because they've had so much fun. They bring another person with them, and then they create different art. It's just a fun space to make. And so what we do is I guide you through how to start a painting, and then we make one and then we pass along our palettes. So then you work with colors that you wouldn't normally work with. And then we create 2 more paintings, one on your own, and then we come back and I teach you another technique. And then at the end, you walk away with a matted painting of yours. So it's just framed with a nice presentation mat that you can frame at home.
That is awesome. And you mentioned before that you had other artists in your gallery. Who are they?
I have Jill Stevens. She is a wood mosaic artist, and she uses encaustic on it. She's just incredible. Then I have Janet Nelson. She is a floral painter. It's like floral patterns, and she does animals as well, like animals on top of animals, and then has the funniest names for them. And then I have Nastia Craig, and she has very bold kind of collage work, and she is also an interior designer. She did the interior designing on Red, the restaurant in Madison. And then I have Isis McCuss, and she is a Spanish-American artist. And then I have my own artwork, and this is a start of one, but yeah.
And I see other fabric pieces hanging around. Can you tell me about those?
Yeah, so I got a little off track with my painting for a little bit, and so I needed something to bring me back to that creative spirit. And when I was living at home, my mom taught me how to sew, and so I kind of wanted to explore that textiles. I always loved feeling swatches and looking at all the colorways, and so that really inspired me. So I started creating these pieces for outside that were like using ripstop and vellum and all these different types of durable fabrics, and creating different designs on them just with fabric. And I loved how they flew in the wind. And then I moved into this space and hung them up, and they just felt so dense, and I needed to switch the fabric up to be appropriate for inside. So I got all of these sheer fabrics, and just got re-inspired again to create something that was a little bit more delicate. I created this design that was kind of landscapey, and so I kind of mapped it out like a color by number, and then I took it off my fabric wall, which all of these are numbered for the fabric, and that was kind of like a really inspiring project for me. If I did it again, I don't think I'd make it this structured, but I really enjoyed just putting all these different colors next to each other. It was just inspiring to do that, to do something different.
Yeah, that's a really unique medium to use fabric and flowing. And do you have anything new that you're working on that we haven't seen yet?
Well, so I want to say this so that I actually do it. I was inspired this last weekend by another artist to go back to this original form that I started creating in. And it's, I print on transparencies, and then I made acrylic frames for them. So it's kind of hard to understand. I made this like 10 years ago. So this is like, I want to reinvent what I did in here. The artwork that is in here is not really what's important. What's important in this right now is the frame and like what it is. So I want to come back to it to make the art inside to be equally as inspiring as the outside. And to help visualize what this is, like I take these 3 frames and then I put transparencies in between these. So the next time I do it, I'm going to be putting, I'll be painting on like a clear acetate, and then that will be how I freshen it up and how it feels more me. So we'll see how long this takes, because it's just right now it's just like I've been inspired and now I just need to do it. So that's what I'm working on right now.
That kind of seems like how Disney movies used to be made, where they had the multiple layers piling up to make one image. So that's a really neat concept to go with.
Yeah.
So tell us about the cool clear things you have hanging above your counter.
So these blobs that I made, they're actually made from a recycled plastic. So I get these, for my artwork, I use pre-made frames, and it comes with this cheap acrylic that I don't want to put in my artwork. So I save it, and I'm like, for a project. And then I created a window display using these, and then once that window display was done, I just wanted to put them back in my space. But they're made from like this really thin acrylic that I put paint on, and then it's just water and acrylic, and yeah.
All right. And what other stuff do you sell? Because you don't just sell art.
I have lots of fun gift items, cards. Some of our favorite gift items are these geometry towels, and it's a vendor, so they're like, the brand is Geometry, and they're very absorbent, and they're made from recycled plastic, and they're fun colors. Like, they come out with new colors and patterns every month, and then my dad even loves them, which is weird, and to say that he does. And then I have these wool blankets that are made in England that are just, the color on them is just beautiful. The patterns are just like, the color schemes are beautiful. Then I have cards that range from your regular nice sweet cards to slightly offensive to pun cards, and then just cards that make you smile. And then we have a local vendor in Stoughton that makes candles, and we've just got her in here, and they're actually like my favorite candle now. They smell great, but they're not too potent, and they burn a long time. And then we have our art section, which is good for creatives. It's we have sketchbooks, kind of like this size, and then we have some landscape notebooks or sketchbooks that are this size, and it's a really good value, great gifts, and you can kind of collect a lot of them and sketch away. And then one of our most popular items is these watercolor sheets. It's an ultra portable watercolor sheet that you can put in your pocket. I like to take mine when I go kayaking. I just put it in my pocket along with a mini pocket sketchbook and then a water brush pen, and I stick my brush pen in the water, get the water in there, and then just put the color right on there, and it's just easy.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And how do you choose the products that you sell in your store?
Well, first I have to like it. Then it has to be colorful, or it has to make me smile, or it has to make me laugh.
Okay. And then we also hear that you have a selection of serial killer birthday cards.
Yes.
Can you tell about that a little bit?
Yes. So that's one of our most popular series. It does definitely get people laughing. A lot of people looking at the wall like, oh my gosh, who is this lady? But they're really fun. It features the serial killers that were born in that month, and it's quirky. And then we have other cards that are equally as offensive.
Okay. And with all the popularity of serial killers lately, that seemed like a very relevant thing. And then tell us a little bit about your website. What is your website, and can people buy stuff on there as well?
Yes, it's overtspace.com. And yes, you can buy all of our gifts online, all of the artwork, and you can sign up for our classes.
Okay. And can people get gift certificates for like the classes or stuff in your store?
Yes, and they can be used both online or in store.
Awesome. And if somebody wanted to come by, what are your hours?
Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and then Sunday, 10 to 2.
Okay. And tell us something unique about either yourself or your business, or anything that we haven't already covered.
Well, we like to have fun here. And what I love most about customers coming in for the first time is just like, like they have this huge smile on their face and like, whoa! And that's the best part of my job, other than coming into this space every day.
Yeah, because it's a very colorful store.
Yes.
So that's a big wow factor for people when they come in.
Yes.
I think that's all we've got. So thank you for joining us on Discover Downtown Stoughton, and we'll see you next month.